Now, Joe, I will say I wouldn't mind Canavan as leader of the Nats, but if you look at the record of the Nats at this election, they lost one lower house seat and one Senate seat, which wasn't really their fault. They've actually done quite well, right, all things considered. Why do they need to change leaders?
So it's the same as last time around as well. I don't think they dropped a single seat in 2022, and the only seat they lost in the lower house was to Andrew G, a former Nat
exactly.
So in a sense, that was kind of like treachery rather than an attack from outside.
And the senator they lost was Perrin Davey, who was third on the ticket in New South Wales.
That's right, and that's obviously going to happen in an election result where you get a 55-45 two-party preferred. But again, this just goes to structurally, how does this work? Now, I love Matt Canavan. He's an incredible communicator. He's really, really strong. I'm not sure if he has the numbers. Him and Barnaby are kind of a bit of a unity ticket, and they've struggled to actually win. You know, they're often the most high profile and often have the best cut through of the Nats. But when it comes to party room votes, they don't seem to be in the winner's circle. And again, but again, this is why the Nats are so furious about the defection of Jacinta Price, because the number one rule in politics, Richo's famous rule, is never reward failure. And the Liberals failed, and the Nats held up their end. And what happened? The Nats got punished by the defection of Jacinta, who again I also love. So again, then you have a Liberal Party where they're saying, right, we need to abandon the nuclear plan that cost us votes, especially in Dutton's electorate. That's why he lost his own seat. We need to abandon it. And then at the same time, you've got the Nats saying, oh, we have to abandon net zero. So again, the Libs know that they have to come back to the centre in order to win back Teal seats, in order to win over, moderate voters in the suburbs.
Do they,
but the Nats are saying they have to go. Go the other way. See what happens.
As someone who lives out in the bush and who knows his players pretty well, I'm telling you, we don't like Little Proud because he backed net zero and it really affects us in the bush. Andrew G won as an independent because he was one of the only ones in that area who said no to those wind turbines. I know many farmers in the Oberon Central West area who are now faced with the challenge of those 200 and something wind turbines that are as tall as Centrepoint Tower. We can't even fathom in our minds what that's going to look like, let alone the farmers who have to be in the way of them when they're going around in the shade. Goodness help the farmers who have epilepsy.
That means the coalition splits. It means the coalition goes in different directions.
The centre to win back Teal seats.
The Libs do.
Tim Wilson won back from a Teal, his prior seat. One of the first things he said was, I support nuclear. I'm backing nuclear.
Yeah. I think that is...
I think the Teal... the disillusionment with the Teals will set in. We're already seeing it. Monique Ryan almost lost her seat. She just came in. Yeah. I honestly think people are going to start to see the Teals.
There is a shift. It's not just in America that we're seeing shift to more conservative things. I mean, look at Sweden, look at Germany, look at Austria, look at Italy. There is a shift.
Well, Canada shifted away. I think the Trump tariffs
which was
are going to have
the Trump thing. But I've always said our time will come. We just haven't met the point where we feel so let down.
Communism will get us there, and we're on that trajectory.
You've now got a government with a thumping majority, so they may well put themselves into oblivion. We'll see where it goes. And I always said that the Teals would get 2 terms. They were not a one-term wonder. They will slowly be whittled away, and those seats will come back to the Libs.
And with even less power now, with a Labor majority, they're going to have even less.
They are totally pointless. Now, Melbourne CBD needs more bike lanes like it needs more junkies at the corner of Flinders and Elizabeth Streets. But that's apparently what they're going to get. The Melbourne City Council draft budget has pointed out at least 5 streets that could have new bike lanes because according to Lord Mayor Nicholas Rees, try this on for size, quote, our data tells us that bike and scooter volumes entering the CBD at the top end of Exhibition Street now outnumber cars during morning peak hours. So we have seen significant change. Do you believe that for 1 minute, Ken?
Not for a minute. We have driven through, we're in Sydney, not Melbourne, and the bike lanes are empty. And you only need to think about it. Cyclists are basically stupid because they're sharing a road with vehicles which are made out of steel and weigh a tonne. And you know what they're using for their personal protection? Lycra. So they're idiotic. And they're there because they want to be healthy and they want to be fit, so they're breathing in exhaust fumes all the time. It's just idiotic. So the idea that you achieve and let me tell you, we don't want sweaties arriving in the office.
or at the cafe.
It's not good from any point of view.
I'm trying to have my coffee very quickly, Evelyn.
Look, this goes hand in hand with what the town, city leaders and planners were doing. It's actually a little bit more than just idiot bike rides. While I completely agree with you, Cal, I will say this: they're pushing for what's called a congestion tax. So any motorist who's entering the CBD is now going to be charged with a levy, and it's meant to curb people from using it. So it's all attached to this same agenda. And by 2050, it's said that in the city of Melbourne alone, there's supposed to be 9 million people living there. And the problem that we have, 30% of the Australian population wasn't even born here. So the problem is we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the ability to move freely around our own nation because we're importing the problem. Our birth rate, are not meeting the requirements of 9 million people in the city alone. New South Wales has a population of 8 million. If you can just grasp what we're expected by 2050, this is why they're pushing for it, because our roads can't afford that many cars.
And it's the same problem we've had with housing. Of course, they have a congestion tax in the UK. Now they have a ULEZ where they charge you more if you've got a diesel car. Look, it's not going to go away.